So today we're going to start with a session based on tough speaking. That's a very interesting session because speaking is actually becoming tougher by the day. I'll give you the reasons why the speaking is getting tougher. In India, the speaking is getting tougher because the number of applicants who are applying, the people who are applying for IELTS exam is very, very huge. It is extremely huge right now. There are no seats available for the next month. So that's what you can see what is happening right now. It's like total flood of people appearing for the examination. So obviously the speaking is tougher, the essays are tougher, and things are not that rosy what it used to be. Let's proceed further. Tough speaking tips. Now, let us talk about tough speaking. What exactly is tough speaking? So we have a lot to talk about here. Number one, the examiner is rude and doesn't behave well. This is one of the types of speaking in which the speaking becomes very tough. Number two, examiner is not understandable. That means he's speaking very slowly. You cannot understand what he's talking. Number three, examiner is not listening to you. That becomes a problem. Number four, examiner cross questions a lot. Number five, every question is followed by why. Every time he's asking you why. Examiner is asking you to elaborate every answer. Another problem is this. Examiner is distracting you. Examiner is asking you a lot of tough questions. So this is called as tough speaking. And last but not least is you do not understand the cue card. But that is just one part of the 9 different things that are there. And I would also say that this is not all. It has something called as etc. I'll give you some circumstances in which the speaking becomes very, very tough. So let me show you what are they. Let's talk about it. Now, suppose you haven't had food and you're very hungry. Speaking is going to become tough. Number two, your mask is very uncomfortable. Speaking is going to become tough. Number three, you just ran up and the moment you entered the hall, they said your speaking turn is there and you enter and you're very nervous at that time. Speaking will become tough. So all these things lead to a tough speaking. And what happens in the tough speaking? You lose marks. You have to prepare for the exam again. That is a very major problem. So we are going to solve out all these things one by one. All right. So what to do when the speaking is tough? Examiner is rude and doesn't behave well. So my answer here is etiquette matters. That means you should be very respectful, even if he's rude, be respectful towards him. Don't try to be counter rude. That's not effective. That won't help you. Number two, examiner is not understandable. He's speaking in a very low tone. He's not understandable. So my answer here is listen carefully. It is very important to listen carefully. Remember one thing. Your speaking examination is not only speaking, it is your listening and your speaking examination. If you do not listen well, you cannot speak well. So listen to the person carefully. And in case you are unable to understand him, you can always request the examiner. Say, could you speak a little more loud? You request the person, but again, it's not possible that he's going to speak at that tone for every question. He might reduce the tone, he might increase the tone. That's normal. The pitch, everything reduces and increases. So what you should try to concentrate is listen well. That is very important. Listen very well. Now let's see the next thing. Examiner is not listening. So he is just looking at you and you feel he is not listening or he's looking somewhere else in the room. Like, let me show you one example. Now, for example, you are sitting in front of me and basically I have to listen to you. But if the examiner is very busy making notes, he is very busy making notes and you feel he's not listening to you. So what are you going to do? In that case, there's a problem. Or he's looking at the fan, or he's just pondering over something, he's just thinking over something and not listening to you. In that case, what would you do? Now let us see. Be loud, clear, and interesting. That means you are boring. That is why he's not listening to you. Everything is recorded there. Keep that in mind. There's a recorder. Everything is recorded. Even if he's not listening to you, everything is getting recorded. So try to be loud and clear and very interesting. You cannot have a morose tone. You cannot have a tone which is like you just saw a ghost or something. Try to have ups and downs in your tone. Try to make your language more proficient. Try to be more interesting. That will be better. Let us see one more advice. Examiner cross questions you a lot. He's cross questioning you a lot. Like, for example, he's asked you one question, tell me where you live. Okay, then you say, I live in Gurgaon. And then he asks you, have you been staying there for a long time? You say, yes, I'm staying there for a long time. That means your answers are short. It's not very good. It's not very good. You should give logical reasoning and try to elaborate your answers. The cross questioning would reduce. He's not satisfied by your answer. That's why he's cross questioning you a lot. Let's see some more problems. Every question has a why. Now, let us do some small practice session here with why questions. Suppose I ask you a question, which is your favorite color? Now I ask you again, the next question is, why do you like blue? Why? Why? I keep on questioning you. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? This means that your answers are short. You need to elaborate your answers. Elaborate them. How do you elaborate your answers? We'll figure it out. Do not give short answers, otherwise he will put why for everything. Next question. Examiner is asking you to elaborate every answer, which means your reasoning is poor. Your reasoning is poor. You have to have a strong reasoning. Examiner is distracting you. Okay, now understand what is the meaning of distraction. Now suppose I'm taking your speaking and I'm playing with a pen. Continuously I'm playing with a pen, right? You'll be distracted. Or I'm playing with my hair, or I'm playing with my shirt. You are definitely going to be distracted. Or if I get up from my seat and I go there, you are talking and I am moving around in the room. So that means there is going to be a problem. Your distraction has started happening. He's distracting you a lot. Or you know what happens? Sometimes what happens, you are giving the answer, he takes out his water bottle and he starts drinking water. And then he tells you, please continue. He doesn't tell you, he just does this. Please continue with his hand. He just tells you, please continue. He indicates it. So let us see what is the solution to this now. Be calm. Be calm. If you lose your normal sense of sanity, it is impossible that you're going to get good marks. Do not be nervous. That is normal procedure. Just remember the plight of the examiner. Understand what he's going through. He is sitting in that room for 8 to 9 hours speaking of people. And in that speaking, trust me, being an examiner is not easy. You get people who are very, very boring, who are very bad in English, and you have to listen to them throughout the day. You have to motivate them to speak. You get fed up after some time. Trust me, it happens. I have been a victim of this, getting bored by these students because they give very bad answers and you have to ban them. And then there's an emotional factor. Then there's a fact that you're sitting in a room. It becomes a pain. Trust me, it becomes a pain. Be calm. Be calm. Try to empathize with him. Be calm. Do not be hyper. Oh, he's not listening to me. What's he doing? He's not listening to me. Cool down. Nothing would happen. Everything is being recorded. Do not worry. Be calm. Examiner is asking you tough questions. Okay, listen carefully in this case. Carefully. I'm going to teach you what are tough questions. Listen carefully. It's very important. You do not understand the cue card. That's a problem with many people. They don't understand the cue card. Break down the cue card, which means break it down into multiple parts. You'll be able to understand it better.